Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be displaying what I personally like to wear when I'm portraying the Austro-Hungarian army in the First World War. Now, you can't quite see from this angle, but of course we'll have more angles in the video. Something you might notice is missing is an entrenching tool. Now I'm going to touch on that when I do how I pack my kit bag, how I organise that. Because personally I don't like to have it on the webbing because of how long it is and it just kind of dangles there. So if you're wondering about that, that is why it won't be here. Another thing I should mention is my water bottle. It's not correct. It's actually Swedish, but it is a stand-in for the time being until I can get an appropriate water bottle. So, first things first, let's talk about the bread bag. So this is the bread bag here. It usually sits on your hip, and it's got a cross strap. Now, the Germans also have a bread bag. I think it's very common for many European armies, especially in polar times, to have this sort of satchel type thing. And on the German one you can detach the straps, whereas this one is fixed. I actually quite like it purely for aesthetic reasons, but I also prefer this satchel because it's a lot bigger. The buckles are nicer. It uses these roller buckles instead of like leather buttons that the Germans use. It's a very nice piece of kit, and that's why I like to use it. With that out of the way, let's go on to the webbing belt itself. So starting from right to left, as you can see, it's a roller buckle belt. There's no reason in particular that I choose this. You could have this or you could have a conventional belt. I just thought it looks cool. And then of course attached to it we've got the magazine pouches. Steyr Mannlicher magazine pouches. Now you might be thinking, oh, these look a bit old and run down, and that's because they are. They're actually Bulgarian Mannlicher pouches from actually the Cold War. They used them for quite a while. And of course next to it on what would be my left hip, I've got my bayonet, just your standard Austrian M95 bayonet. I've gone for the leather scabbard, but I have seen they had austerity scabbards made out of canvas. So there's no one right way of doing Austro-Hungarian webbing, because they mix and match quite a lot. So if you don't like the leather, you can go canvas, and so much you can do with it. But of course I've gone Billy Basics. As well, you should be able to see in the footage, there's a little hole in the pommel of my bayonet. That's for an NCO's sword knot. So usually be a keychain, and you'd put that around, and you'd feed the sword knot in, and you'd wrap it around the handguard at the bottom. Although this bayonet, for some reason, doesn't have one. If you know why, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe they just made some of them that way and they just let them dangle. Personally, I probably wouldn't use it, because having a weird piece of rope dangling from your bayonet when you're trying to use it on your rifle, I don't think is a really good idea. And then next, of course, the canteen. I won't delve too much into it. As I said, this is just a stand-in. This one, as you can see, has got a screw top, but usually at the time it would be cork stoppers. But other than that, it is very similar to the Austrian 1909, a similar shape. I think there's more defined ridges in the Austrian one, but I mean, it's perfectly serviceable temporary stand-in. And of course at the end you've got another set of magazine pouches. Now even that is something that's optional. I have seen pictures where people run about with just one mag pouch. You don't always use these ones. Sometimes have older patterns, but because I have this here, the M95 Mannlicher rifle, thought I'd have M95 pouches. This one is made in Steyr, 1903, but it is actually a Bulgarian contract one. I'll get a close-up on the receiver and you'll see the Bulgarian crest. Because you've got the front sights, they go up to 26 Schritt, which is an interesting measurement I've never heard of before. It's just a standard flip-up ladder sight, nothing fancy with it. No slopes, no weird Langevisiers, it's just a nice ladder sight. And of course at the front you've got your bayonet lug and your sling swivel. So now that we've had an overview of the webbing set, we'll have a quick cut, change the camera angle, and I'll show you how I put it all together. So when I put my kit on, I like to start with the bread bag. Now it's slung over the right shoulder. I've already sized mine off, but usually you can size it off while you're adjusting it. Size it off while you're adjusting it, that sounds dumb. You can size it off once you've put it on. Ideally with these clips here that go on the belt, you want to size it off when you've got the belt on as well. Something I like to do, I think most people did it, that I've seen in photos, depending on how much of a rush you're in. If you put your shoulder board or your epaulette over the top, and it just looks a bit smarter and it doesn't slide off. Not that there's much risk of that happening, but better safe than sorry. Next, we've got the belt. Of course, the bayonet is on the left hand side, I'm so sorry. You want your buckle to be near the middle. The one downside to the roller buckle design is trying to feed the excess underneath the pouches, but that seems to have worked fine. And then again, something that I see quite a lot is people pushing the pouches so that they're close in together. I mean, at the end of the day, it's personal preference, but having them in close together seems to be the done thing. Then once I've done that, try and retrieve these hooks that sit up onto the belt, which can be a bit annoying. Usually with the German one you just keep them attached, but not always possible with this. And then finally, of course, you need your rifle. So this is the bare bones fighting order kit that I would usually wear when I'm portraying the Austro-Hungarian army. Next time we will delve into my backpack, what I'd carry on it rather than in it, what I'd carry on it, with different bits of attachments, stuff that you can do to bring your impression together. If you have any questions about individual bits of kit, where I got it, you know, what I've done to it to make it look the way it does, please let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.